are live. What's up, everybody? Thank you to everybody that's watching right now. Tonight, we're going to talk about SNL, touching on Joe Biden, touching on people, and then touching on the black voter. We're going to talk about our chopsticks racist. And also, we got to touch on AOC does her best HRC, because this is what pandering looks like. It's the Young Lion Podcast.
Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they dying. Everywhere I look, they dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
Yeah, the Young Lion Podcast. Thank you guys for watching. We are here live at True Sound Studios in Camden, New Jersey, a.k.a. The Office, a.k.a. The Lion's Den. I'm here with my brother.
More AKAs?
No, we don't need no more AKAs. That's what it is. This is The Lion's Den. When we do the podcast, it's The Lion's Den, right? When we do music, it's The Office.
Okay.
And when we record, it's True Sound Studio. Multifaceted, multi-purpose.
Okay.
But I got my brother, Jake, here with me. I got my other brother, Simone Chang.
What up?
Yeah, and then, of course, I got on the production side, we got Rachel Rhoda holding it down, as she always does. Going to do her best job to follow our crazy conversation and maybe bring up some clips and some articles on things that we talk about. Soon to join us is the once again late half black, half Indian, Mr. James Garcia, Mr. Build Right himself. He will be here to join in because he loves talking about racial stuff. And we want to make sure that everyone who's watching, who's in the chat, you guys can join in on the conversation. You could ask us questions. We want to be engaging with everybody. We want to make sure you guys are part of the conversation, and that we can talk about real things, talk about real issues. That's the purpose of this podcast. As you can tell if you've been watching it, that we try to speak truth and not hold back things that we really believe in, things that we want to talk about, that we think need to be said, because there's a lot of suppression being done right now.
Can't be scared.
You can't be scared.
Yeah, man.
And if you're not scared, make sure you go and you support the podcast. You can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Young Lion TV. And or you can go to patreon.com/Chatan, and you can become a member, become a part of Young Lion TV, and I think you can sign up and subscribe there also. And then if you do that, you will get some perks. Like, we're giving out all of our music, we're giving out like all of our backlog music, and then all of the music that we have coming out, you'll get it for free. It's just something that we're doing for the people that support. And it's going to a good cause, because we're trying to keep the podcast growing, keep the conversation going, do more. We're trying to do more with the podcast, make it better quality, and do some fun stuff. Some fun stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
we want to say what's up to a couple people?
Yeah, say what's up to some people in the chat.
What up, Junior? Mickey, Ariana, Cliff, what up? Aaron Patrick from high school.
Oh, wow.
Aaron, what's up, man?
Rich Williams, what up?
What's up?
Duran, back on. Yo, what up?
Yeah, Duran's back. Junior's in the chat. You said what's up to Junior?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, make sure you guys are following along and joining on the conversation. And we're gonna talk about some.
You can call
stuff.
us names too if you want.
Yeah, you can disagree with us, and
Yeah,
we can take it.
We've been around each other so long that we tend to agree on a lot of things. So it's good to have people that challenge us and don't agree with us. So feel free to join in and call us out on anything that you think we're wrong about. Because we're not wrong. So let's start with this SNL. Over the weekend, Saturday Night Live we were talking about the Joe Biden thing last week.
Right.
Jake wasn't here because he was sick, but we talked about the Joe Biden thing. We talked about the hypocrisy of the Me Too thing, and how, like, people aren't really doing a good job of calling him out. And he was someone who was calling out a lot of people for the Me Too thing, like believe all women, you know. And now it's kind of like I'm hearing a lot of excuses be made, you know. And SNL did, of course, you know, SNL is really not that funny to me, but they tend to like just take whatever's going on in the news or pop culture and just do a skit about it, and you know everyone's supposed to laugh. So what I want to do is I want to show a little bit of the skit, and I want to talk about what I noticed and see if you guys notice what I noticed. So if you can bring up that, Rachel, and go to 513, it started right there. It'll be a perfect spot.
No harm.
Yeah, he doesn't mean no harm.
Just get better as they go.
And she's looking for a candidate who can beat Donald Trump.
Oh, you mean the guy that actually bragged about assault on tape?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, but unlike his voters, your voters actually care.
Ding.
All right, okay.
Okay,
Fair
let's
point.
bring in Mrs. Douglas.
Okay, show me Mrs. D.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, what do you say now?
I'm sorry, miss. I didn't mean to overstep.
Wait a second, I
Yes.
know who you are.
You do?
Oh my God, you Obama's granddaddy!
I sure as hell am. Yeah, get in here. Woo! Hey, how about a low five? Huh? Come on. Boom, 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 boom. Come on, go in there and grab some tape. Yeah! Not that far.
I'm so gonna vote for you.
Thank you. Ah, there you go. I love you, baby. Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow. Oh, her thumbs. Whoa.
That was not how I wanted that to go.
Yeah.
Okay, you can stop it there. All right, so basically it goes on to say he didn't learn his lesson because she basically comes in and says, I'm going to vote for you anyway. But the thing that what did y'all see? What are the things that stuck out to you about that skit right there? Because it hit me immediately when I watched this.
I mean, the fact that whoever that woman was said, "Oh, you mean the people who don't care about Obama, Trump's supporters don't care about anything." She said something like that.
Right. Yes.
And then she comes in and she don't care.
Right, exactly.
Because she don't even know who he is.
That was
Except for Obama.
right. That was the hypocrisy of it.
Obama's granddaddy. That's
Right.
So, I'm gonna vote for you. Exactly.
So to me, it was like I saw the straight up hypocrisy of what they were saying, and then it literally comes within 45 seconds of itself. It's like she's looking for someone who can beat Donald Trump. Oh, you mean the guy that bragged about sexual assault on tape? Yeah, well, you know, his voters don't care about it, but yours do. Oh, okay. But then in walks one that doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
It's like, and why doesn't she care about it? Because Democrats know that blacks are low IQ voters, right?
Yeah.
They call them that. They're not low IQ, but low information voters. They're not really informed on the candidates. And then they prove it with the skit because she doesn't even know that Joe Biden was the vice president. She has no idea who he is except that he's connected to Obama somehow. Oh, you're Obama's granddaddy. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to vote for you. It's like, okay. So she has no idea about any of this. So of course he didn't learn his lesson. And to me, it was like, it spoke volumes about like what they think black voters are. And why we always make it a point to try to tell people like, yo, you don't understand. There's a 90+% black people vote Democrat, and they know that.
Yeah. And if you're a black person, you laughed at that.
Because it's not even funny. It's not even like it's not even clever humor. It's such a unfunny joke. It's just like, oh, she's the loud black woman coming in there. What? Obama's granddaddy, man, slapping him on his butt. Yeah, come on, give it to me, girl. It's like, yo, really? Like that's how you see the black. That's how you see black, especially black women, like the loud black woman.
And they're making fun of it, and they don't really care about that.
Right.
Like you're not offended that they look at you like that. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's the part to me. When I first watched it, because I had no idea. I thought it was like, oh, let me see what they had to say about Biden, the Biden thing, because they're always, clowning on politicians. So I'm like, let me see if they really went in on Biden or if they were light on him. Of course, they were light on him. But then when I saw that, it was like, first, of course, everything has to be a stab at Trump, and then they bring in the black voter. But when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is like I don't. People that get offended at everything and you don't get offended at that.
Exactly.
is weird to me. Like, to me, I'm not offended by it because.
But you don't put your offense clothes on. You know what I mean? Like they're settled back. They're in their pajamas. Oh, that's funny as shit.
Yeah.
But they're not paying attention. Like nobody, when Trump talks, anytime Trump talks, it's like
they're waiting for it. They're waiting for it. What's he gonna say? Something that I can.
He says anything. I'm gonna get him.
I'm watching.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
It's a shame, and it's really a shame because the black voter base really doesn't understand how they view you. You know what I mean? Or how because they pander to you. And we're going to get into that with the AOC
I was
thing.
just about to say
and another article that I found. But they pander to you when it's time for votes, but they really do nothing, you know, to earn your vote or to keep your vote. And they know they got it. They know they got it. Think about any other situation in life where a group of people agree on it 90+% of the time. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
I mean, dude, you look at... All right, we're in Camden. You look at Camden, and it's mainly Democratic ran for years and years and years.
Right.
And there's been little change over the last few years.
Right.
But it's so funny, like... So many dudes got indicted, all Democrats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mayors.
Yeah, mayors. Tons of corruption.
People in what's it called, City Hall. You know what I mean? And nothing. It doesn't really change unless you start making them see it. You know, and they keep electing the same people, and they don't even think about it.
Right.
And you see that all over. You see that in Chicago.
Right. Look at San Francisco. We were talking about San Francisco. We were talking about California in general. Like California is being totally ran down, and it's solely their Democratic vote is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a shame that people don't research who they're voting for anymore. It's just, oh, I'm a Democrat, my parents were Democrats, I'm a Republican, my parents were Republicans, so this is what we do, you know. And it becomes more of a
tradition.
Oh, let's check the chat. We got some things Rachel's letting us know.
Your messages.
Yeah, it becomes like the thing that, like, just like how I know Spanish people, what religion are they usually? Catholics.
Your private
But
messages.
ask them why, you know, they do a ritual that they do, why they put the ash on. They have no clue. You know, it's just something that they just do because that's what they've done.
All of them, but
not all, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, it has to do with I guess the poor demographic too, because people are so busy working and stuff that they're not paying attention to a lot. They're just trying to veg out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watch TV. So they'll turn on CNN and just watch it and just believe everything that happens. You know, I think that might have something to do with it. Like people, they get so tired, they don't want to even think about anything. I got to go to work. You know, what's one of our friends say?
Yeah.
I gotta
go to work in the morning. Yeah.
One of our friends.
no matter what happens, I still got to go to work in the morning.
And it's like, okay, but guess what? You got to deal with what comes because you're not making any decisions.
Oh.
You know what I mean? You're not making any decisions for your life. So now you got to deal with what comes.
Yep. Yeah, man.
And that's the issue with a lot of these people in poverty, you know, and they just, okay, Democrat. You know, I go to the polls and I'll ask people, well, why'd you vote for them? I don't know. He's a Democrat. I don't know. That's who I thought we were supposed to vote for.
I've heard that because I've asked somebody before, somebody that I've painted with before, why are you Democrat? His exact words were, I'm Democrat because they give me stuff.
Hey, James is here.
Wow.
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Hey. What's up, James? So Simone just said he asked somebody why they were a Democrat.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, we're not we're not affiliated with Republicans, Democrats. We're neutral.
Well, I think the whole political system has been totally infiltrated and corrupted.
I don't want to say neutral, but we seek the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
And we try to find out the truth and the stuff that makes sense. So Moan just said that one of the guys he used to work with basically said, I'm a Democrat because
they give me stuff.
Because they give me stuff. There you go. You don't have to think about that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a little kid would say something like that. Give me candy, so I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with this man in his van right now.
Well, how many people take that approach? Like, even think about it. Like, you got two parents most of the time. You have two parents, hopefully, right? That's the best case scenario. And a lot of times, kids will side with whoever is the one that gives them what they want all the time, right? Because they know that to them, it's not about what's best for them. They're not thinking in that terms. They're thinking about, what do I want right now?
Right.
And I want my way. I want to play. I want candy. I don't want to go to school. Whichever is the one that will let me do that, that's the one that I'm going to love more. You know what I mean? That's the one that I'm going to want to be around.
And then the other angle is that the kid, the parent then uses that as power, as leverage. Remember?
Yeah,
like you know,
exactly.
If the parent wanted that kid to do something for him or her, then he could then turn around and say, remember, I did this for you.
Right.
So cover this for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's leverage, you know?
Or they say, I'm your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Remember, now I gave you the candy. Yeah. That's what it is, man. We were just talking about the SNL skit. That's what led on to all of this. And we were talking about how, like, you know, the black voter, 90+% vote Democrat, and that they're basically laying out in that sketch. You saw that,
Yeah,
right?
I saw that, yeah.
You know, where, like, the black voter is very uninformed, doesn't care about who Joe Biden is, just knows that he's somehow connected to Obama, so I'm voting for him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Obama's granddad.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's they're even using like a caricature of the stereotypical, like, loud black emotional female, you know what I mean? And it's like, the people that are always so offended by everything, just give that a pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's what I got from the skit.
Right.
You know, is that she pretty much behaved emotionally about it. And her reaction to him, what they were trying to warn him about, she gave them.
And then she had to say, this is not how I expected this to go. Like, it's like, yeah, because they're trying to tell him, people care about this. Your voters care about this. And then in walks this one, doesn't give two shits about it.
Yeah. He turns around and she grabs his ass.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is so messed up, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. I mean, that's the way
it's so messed up.
She said his thumbs.
You say thumbs are cold.
Ew.
Joe Biden is a weirdo, though.
I mean, come on. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Like, you cannot. Like, I understand, because they're playing like he's old and he's from even his because we brought up his apology, but we couldn't play it last week. But, like, remember, I heard it later, and it was like, oh, times are changing now, and I need to get with the times. Like,
all this social media stuff.
Yeah,
right.
But no, because just a couple weeks ago, you were the one telling everybody that that's Joe, that's Biden right there, creepy Uncle Joe.
Right.
Yeah, yes, we need to believe women. This is him talking a couple weeks ago. You know,
what's crazy
we cannot
about it,
stand for this. You know what I mean?
What's crazy about it to me is that if you look at a lot of the shows like The View, The Talk, those type of shows that come against that type of behavior, are defending him.
Right.
They're defending it. They're like, oh, that's just him.
Right.
It's like,
but with other people that don't align with their views, they're ready to lock them up. They're ready to slaughter them. It's like, and this is why we always tell people, like, you got to be careful with these shows that you watch and buying into the agenda that they're pushing, because
it is an agenda.
They're all slanted, and they don't realize when they're pushing you to believe something. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like what I was telling you about before, right? The woman who was heading up the Time's Up movement. Right. Her son was accused of sexually assaulting another woman. She stepped down. So to me, don't just run away. Right. When it was somebody else's son, you were ready to go after them at all costs and believe all the victim. Right. You were ready to to breathe fire in everybody else's son. But now that it's yours, you step down. You want nothing to do with the press. Well,
you don't want to talk to the press. But wait a minute. I thought we were supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, let's be fair now.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Time's up for you too.
Yeah, your son.
Time is up, lady.
Right,
and we're here to lay down the law.
Right.
We want your son.
Yeah, exactly.
Turn him over to the mob because that's what you want to do to everybody else.
That's what we're all agreeing with here.
Right.
If this is going to be the rule,
it's got to be consistent.
It's got to be consistent.
And that's it always becomes inconsistent when it turns around on you.
That's what I think. What we're trying to say is that's what this is. We want fairness.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
If you say that's the rule, then that better be the rule for you too.
Right.
You know
because the thing is, we already have laws and rules in place, but you're trying to establish a new standard. And you're so adamant about it, but then when it turned back on you, the standard doesn't apply.
I mean,
like, whoa, wait a minute now.
We saw that with Asia Argento.
Right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
Another one, yes.
She is a pedophile.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
And we heard maybe the 2 weeks after that, maybe you heard about it a little bit,
right.
And it's gone.
It's gone.
Most people don't even know who that is. You know what I mean? And she was one of the accusers of Harvey Weinstein.
She was one of the main Harvey Weinstein.
And turns out she, slept with a 17-year-old young man.
Right. But she had known him since he was like 6 years old.
Wait, isn't that the fiance?
It was Anthony Bourdain's fiance.
Yeah, and Anthony Bourdain had actually paid the kid off.
Because
he was
380 some
yeah,
thousand.
He was threatening to go to the media.
And he wanted more money,
of course. And then they didn't give him any more money, so he came out with it.
Right.
But the thing was, she had known him since he was a little boy. She played his mother in a movie.
Right. And what we're saying here is this. We're saying, I think we're all agreeing with this. Fine. Harvey Weinstein did this. You have every right to come forward and get justice. But now that we found out that you did this, the same thing you're asking to happen to him should happen to you.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's what that should be.
Right.
If this truly is about fairness, because Alyssa Milano, who's one of the champions for this, said, well, guys, hold on. Let's
not rush to judgment. I know Joe Biden. Oh, because you know him.
Right.
Now,
you mean like they did with Jussie Smollett?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And that's what we're saying. We're saying, hey, if you're going to set a precedent and set a rule, that rule better be followed.
Right.
Okay. And you can't ask us when somebody in your team messes up to say, well, hold on. Remember the facts, guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I did see the skit, and of course, you know what it is. You know what I mean? They're trying. SNL is trying to address certain things, but they got to put their twist on it.
Well, I just thought it was hilarious because we always talk about how people view black voters as low IQ, low info voters that don't know much about politics, but they just vote because of a tribal mentality. 90+% Democrat. And
I was told that when I came to America.
Exactly. Everyone. My dad told me that too.
Yeah,
we're Democrats. You vote Democrat.
No matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that to me, that's so irresponsible. Right. Because you're basically telling a kid, do this because that's how it's always done.
Right.
They used to also let blood too
inside
your bed.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're
There's
sick,
a lot of things.
Cooking yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't just do that anymore. You go get checked out. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
But I think it ties into another thing that we wanted to talk about, which was pandering, and they know that there's actually an article that I found that I think it was it the New York Times or Washington Post? I think it was the Washington Post. They did this article about how
owned by Microsoft, is that?
Huh?
One of them, who owns? I think Jeff Bezos owns.
Bezos owns a Huffington Post.
Huffington Post, okay,
I believe, yeah. But he owns. I don't know.
No corporate interest there,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Don't mind me.
Right. Every story is great about Amazon. Yeah, but there was actually a Princeton study done on how liberals always pander to black audiences when they're speaking in front of black audiences. And this has been done for years.
Oh, they turn up the preacher voice.
They turn on the preacher voice. Yeah, and they actually dumb down their speeches, like the speeches that they have prepared.
Right.
Yeah, here he is. White liberals dumb themselves down when they speak to black people, a new study contends. And this goes into like how they basically research. It's mostly presidential candidates, but I'm sure if you like expanded the research to, you know, the higher up senators and congressional people, that ones that have a lot of like attention,
right?
You know, not the ones that. But they do the same thing. This tactic is used, and this is something that's not really used. Yeah, I can't read that, but what's that say?
White liberals may unwittingly draw on negative stereotypes, dumbing themselves down in a likely well-meaning, folksy, but ultimately patronizing attempt to connect with the out group.
Right. And this is something that is done all the time. We've seen it with Hillary, and that's why I said in the intro
I think Hillary might have been worse than
Hillary. I don't think Hillary was worse. This is why I don't think Hillary was worse.
Dude.
Hillary is really from the South.
No, but she was
pandering.
The
hot sauce.
And no. The hot sauce thing was hilarious. She got called out for that. But I'm saying like she was in Selma, Alabama, so it was like a whole like playing up the
she was
Martin Luther King
broken English. Like she wasn't
because
even.
I think she was
like she was literally doing some shit like that.
Maybe she watched Gone with the Wind.
Yes, sir, massa. We would love to vote for you. No, but I think AOC is worse.
I won't stop. We gonna keep going to the end. Like, dude, it was bad.
I think AOC is worse because it's like she don't even know her audience. She's speaking in New York in front of a bunch of black people, and she's talking like that. Yeah. This is what organization looks like. This is what coming together looks like.
She looked around to her campaign manager. They're not snapping their fingers like in Love Jones. You told me.
Right. See if you can find that clip of AOC, Rachel, talking. This is like a Jesse. No. Was it Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton? One of those guys. One of those guys.
Yeah. Al is a Harlemite.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah. One of those guys.
Dude, they're literally interchangeable.
They are. They really are. They really are.
You got Jesse Smollett.
He did work for Jesse Jackson. Yeah, that was his community service.
Community service. That's what it was.
Yeah, but so AOC is talking in front of this crowd for some Al Sharpton.
Thank you all. Thank you, Reverends. Thank you all so much for coming together and gathering today, because this is what organizing looks like.
Looks like.
Building power looks like.
Looks like.
This is what changing the country looks like.
Now she's slapping her hands.
And occupy the room and talk about the things that matter most. Talking about
watch when she goes into.
You know, Reverend, you bring up a funny anecdote, and I'm proud to be a bartender.
Gosh.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Wow.
Working retail, folding clothes for other people to buy.
Hallelujah. Come on now. You better preach it, girl.
I work hours too. I feed her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you get the gist.
Look at your neighbor and say amen.
Didn't watch a whole bunch of
oh my goodness,
I Had a Dream, Martin Luther King speeches.
Okay, so now go to HRC doing her thing, and we can make a comparison.
HRC.
Cause that was terrible to me. Like that was just like so cringy. It just makes me feel like throwing up. Like this is because she don't talk like that.
No,
dude, when I first saw it, I had to like look at like, wait, what is this? I thought she
said
was
it was
joking.
a Bronx accent, right?
Yes.
That's what she.
Oh, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
I'm like, she can't be serious.
I don't feel no ways tired.
See, I think
I'm too far.
She's quoting a speech, though.
From where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
I think AOC's worse.
She is worse.
AOC's worse. Come on, bro.
At least she's quoting somebody.
At least she's in Selma. Right. She's from the South, so she kind of
sounds more natural doing it.
AOC is like, yo, you're in New York, and you claim you, and then
you don't talk like that.
Her whole excuse from it was bring up her tweet about it that I sent you in the chat. It's in the chat. She says like her whole excuse was. It's the CNN article that I screenshotted. something about like, you know, when you come from a linguistic background, that this is how you talk and you know how to speak in front of different enviros and, you know, something like that. There we go. I don't know if you...
So you know how to pander?
Can you read her quote there, Rach, if you can?
Hold on.
Okay.
That is small.
That is very small.
Folks talking about my... It's hard to see.
She says, any kid who grew up in a distinct linguistic culture and had to learn to navigate class enviros at school / work knows what's up. My Spanish is the same way.
Right. So class enviros is the same. And then that was the last thing she said? I think there was something in there about the Bronx, because she always mentions the Bronx.
I'm from the Bronx.
Right.
I act and talk like it, especially when I'm fired up, especially when I'm home. It is so hurtful to see how every aspect of my life is weaponized against me, yet somehow asserted as false at the same time.
Okay, so she's from the Bronx. That's why she acts and talks like it. Yeah. And if you are coming against that, it's because you're racist and you need to stop.
Dude.
So now, hold on, wait a second.
I just want to say, yo, if you went there and you started talking like that, I'm gonna make fun of you.
We will all make fun of each other if we got.
It's obviously what she's doing,
right?
Yeah.
But I would just like to refer everyone to anyone that's ever heard Fat Joe talk, anyone that's ever heard Remy Martin talk, anyone that's ever heard Cardi B talk. They're from the Bronx. That's not how they talk in the Bronx.
Even J-Lo.
Well, J-Lo is from the Bronx. But
has J-Lo ever done a speech like that?
Just to prove this wrong, I have found this video that's a Bronx dialect coach teaching you how to talk like the Bronx.
That's not how they talk.
But it's hilarious because it's some white lady trying to teach you how to talk like Bronx. So I want Rachel to play this. It should be the next thing in the thing.
The next thing in
the thing.
There are lots of different kinds of people that live in the Bronx, which makes it such an amazing place. So we're going to zero in on a sort of Puerto Rican flavor.
Puerto Rican, guys. It's going to make this Puerto Rican.
There's a lot of lip horn attention, and the tongue is high in the back of the mouth. All sounds become diphthongs, so there's two elements to them, so they become or. So law, thought, cost become lure, thought. So try this phrase. I thought this was happening, but basically it's not happening.
Basically?
I thought this was happening, but basically it's not. You hear that little
Okay, we can cut it. So basically, you sound like Rosie Perez if you're from the Bronx. So AOC's whole assertion that because she's from the Bronx and what got emotional, she started talking like Dr. Martin Luther King in front of people in New York is some bullshit. But
she's being called out on it.
She is being called out on it.
So it's like, at least that's like the saving grace of this stuff, is that people are catching on to this.
Yeah.
And people are actually starting to realize, wait a second, that's not who you are.
Exactly.
You know?
But that's why I showed the article first, because it's like people don't understand that there is like a game plan for that. Of course. And it seems to be that liberals and Democrats use that. They pull that out when they're in front of a black audience. They say, okay, we know that if we talk a certain way, if I dumb down things and I speak to them in a way that they can understand, and it's like you can see them in the campaign room like talking to each other. All right, now we're gonna go over your black talk accent now. It's like if black face is so offensive, why isn't black speech a thing, or black voice? Like, you know what I mean? Right. It's hilarious.
Well, they're probably not offended because she's speaking to a certain demographic, which that's not what would offend them. Exactly. They see that as like she's gonna get them.
Oh, she's down. You know what I mean? She's talking like us.
Again, I think it all plays into the Saturday Night Live sketch where it's like they think that black voters are so low IQ that they won't even pick up on the fact that you're pandering. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna love it.
But they've actually been right for a long time.
That's true.
They've been right. I mean,
it's been working.
It's been working.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, it's kind of like if you can go into a church and you can kill a song but have none of the values.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you can
You
kill
win
a
them
gospel
because you
song.
killed the song.
You killed the song.
and they
Your
will,
lifestyle stinks, but
they will love you. You know what I mean? And
No
it's
one,
like,
no one's worried about what you're
you could actually tell
doing.
him. You could actually, all right, guys, I'm gonna go cheat on my wife now.
Yeah.
They'd be like, well, he at least sang that
Yeah,
song.
but God was using him, boy. I tell you what, the Lord was using him. He is anointed. Okay, yeah, it's hilarious. But I just think that we need to like keep exposing this stuff. And I, like you said, I'm glad people are calling
on
her
the
out.
other end of that, like black people, stop falling into these. Like you can't just look at somebody singing and just think, "Oh my God, they're amazing." No,
Right.
they could be like it
like
doesn't-
R. Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, you listen to his words, like
Right. He's telling you what he's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that the point is that, like you said, black people need to understand when they're being pandered to and not fall for it. You know what I mean? Like with that Hillary Clinton hot sauce thing, like Charlemagne actually called her out. It was like, now you know people are going to say you
Well,
pandered
he
to
didn't
the
call her. He just stated the obvious.
But that's not obvious to everybody. Do you know how many people probably were like, "Oh snap, she got that hot sauce.
Yeah.
That's my girl." You know what I mean?
always have on you?
He always plays that position of, well, you know they're gonna think.
Right. They're
But it's
gonna
like-
they're gonna say you're pandering to the black audience. And what was her response?
Is it working?
Exactly. Is it working? Is it working?
Right.
Like, come on, like people need to wake up and stop being fooled by politicians.
Right.
They're gonna try to make themselves sound like everything you want them to sound like. AOC did that because she thinks this is what black people want.
Right.
They want me to sound like this. You know, when she's playing up her intersectionality thing, it's always I'm a woman and I'm Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But then it's the Bronx thing. It's the, you know, when she's in front of Congress, she talks very. I know everything that I'm talking about, even though she does.
Yeah, like it's like I'm gonna go to the Bronx. Okay, what can I do when I enter in the room? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put on a Big Pun song. I'm gonna put on.
Right. Show everybody how Puerto Rican I am.
Go in there. You know what I mean? Like, and then just start dancing a little bit.
I don't want to be playing no more.
And then everybody,
she with it. Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, it's pandering, and people don't like to admit it, but it's pandering, and she's gonna keep doing that as long as it keeps working. Her Twitter following keeps growing. Videos keep going viral of her, and even though she's getting called out, none of that is stopping her from, you know, playing this role, because that's what she's doing. She's playing this role of someone who's in Congress to change things and be this voice for the youth. Mm-hmm. You know, when she's really being pushed by an organization behind her.
Right.
But she's saying stupid stuff along the way. You know
a lot of stupid
like,
stuff.
Stuff like that she's not being responsible for.
No one's people are holding her accountable, but I feel like it's only people that don't like her anyway. You know what I mean? So no one is calling her out for. Well, I mean that's not to be. Anderson Cooper did ask her some questions when she talked in front of.
Yeah, but he didn't exactly.
I mean, that was when she said like softballer. You know what I mean?
She said, "Is it better to be factually correct or morally correct?"
Right.
It's like, where are your morals from? Like, where are you getting your morals from? First off, because that don't make no sense.
What does that even mean to be morally correct?
You need to have some morals founded in something.
Yeah.
Where do you find your morals in socialism? Okay.
So that brings us to this rant that she did on her live stream that got a lot of attention.
All right.
Where she started going. First of all, the fact that like it became like this. I was seeing like all these news stories that were so enamored with just the fact that watch her put her IKEA furniture together. Like this, like it's like, yo, do you really think that she has to put her own furniture together? She's doing this for y'all. You know what I mean? And you just feed right into it. But there's like all of these news stories like, AOC putting her furniture together, you know, is the best thing I've ever seen. All these people tweeting about it. It's
Why
ridiculous.
is it the best thing?
Because it makes her seem real. You know what I mean? It makes her seem real, even though there's multi-million-dollar company backing her.
Who, me? Nothing. You
Nothing
just
to
caught
see.
me spackling this wall.
Yeah, right. Eating trail mix and putting IKEA furniture together. But
What I do on Tuesdays.
she goes on this rant where she starts calling out, because people keep calling her out about stuff. So she says something about, getting information wrong sometimes. I'm only 29. And I have a lot of time to learn, and I may be wrong sometimes, but at least I'm not putting children in cages at the border.
That's exactly how she sounds.
That's how she sounds in my head.
The funny thing is, you're wrong again.
Right.
Like, you're wrong with that statement.
She's like, but she's like, at least I'm not putting children in cages at the border and drugging them. And then it was like, okay, what are you talking about? And then I think somebody went on MSNBC and called her out about that.
Well, no, that was I think it was in Washington Post.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see if Rachel can find it.
Yeah,
That's all
that was Mark Morgan. I know the name because we grew up with a Mark Morgan.
Mark Morgan Jr., if you're watching, you know who Mark Morgan is. That is the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah, but Mark Morgan was
Wait, which one was Mark? I'm sorry.
Mark Morgan was the 35-year-old dude that would always try to play with us when we were little kids.
We were like 12.
Is that the painting guy?
He was the guy who used to walk around with a tape recorder to his head.
Yeah.
And used to listen to wrestling theme songs.
Yeah.
He used to listen to WWF theme songs.
Dude, I know all the theme songs because of him.
I think that should be a skit where we reenact.
But the thing was, he was kind of like, he lived with his parents. He was kind of slow. He worked at McDonald's, and he was 35 years old. He always would want to play with 8, 9, 10-year-old kids, and he idolized Mark Summers. You know who Mark Summers is?
No, who's that?
That was before your time coming to America. Nickelodeon used to have this string of kid game shows, Double Dare. I can't remember all the other ones.
Obviously, early 90s.
This was early 90s, yeah. No, this was probably 80s. This was like late 80s.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s. Mark Summers used to host these game shows. He was like the ultimate Nickelodeon game show host. And
was Nick Cannon before Nick Cannon, is he trying to tell me?
He was like the guy.
White, though.
He was the guy.
Hey, your point B. I'm kidding.
Come on, man. Didn't we just talk about Russell Wilson last week?
I had to throw that in there.
But anyway, so he idolized Mark Summers, and he thought that one day he was going to be a game show host. So he used to buy all those games and put on these mock Nickelodeon. It's unbelievable, bro.
There's so many skits to this. Trust me.
And Junior, if you're watching, he used to torture this guy because Junior is an animal.
Yeah.
And he used to
he used to walk behind. What are you doing, Mark? And the guy, he had a hunchback.
Yeah, he was like a hunchback.
He had a hunchback.
It was the weirdest.
He had really bad dandruff.
And he was obsessed with porn.
He felt bad for the guy.
Dude, he said, but this was because we found out because we used to play hide and seek in the neighborhood and there was trees everywhere. He had a tree right in front of his house. So they were hiding in the tree one day and you could see into his bedroom, right? The whole floor is just covered in Playboys and Penthouse
You can't
magazines.
see the floor. That's how many magazines he has. To be fair, it wasn't all Playboy magazines. It was Playboy and Gamer
magazines, like Nickelodeon magazines.
Yeah, but it was.
But anyway, his name was Mark Morgan. So when we saw this article, it was like, yo, Mark Morgan.
He's probably watching this right now, eating popcorn. What the hell? Why would you guys bring that up? Guys are petty.
Yeah, right. He's probably watching wrestling right now, dude. He used to literally walk around with headphones, singing, "I am a real American."
He might have been at that time we didn't really have any autistic.
I think so.
Or Asperger's.
Yeah,
one of
those.
Probably on the spectrum.
Oh, go ahead, play it, Rachel. We're messing you up.
Totally.
You're doing all this work. AOC ripped.
Is this what we're talking about?
This is what we're talking about. Yeah, she was ripped by Obama-era Border Patrol chief for what she said.
Mark Morgan.
For reckless rhetoric.
Because what she said in that stream. So he's coming out against what she said. I think there's a video here, right?
Look, right there. Go up a little bit. Look where go back down. I'm sorry. Where it says Mr. Morgan.
Mr. Morgan.
It says, I'm trying to restrain myself with the answer because, first of all, the United States Border Patrol, they should be applauded when she's talking about cages. So he's like annoyed,
right,
to the fullest by this.
Right, and that's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. That's the clip of her rant right there. Go back to that picture of her holding them scissors. She just looks like a psycho. She's like sitting on the floor screaming at the camera, holding these scissors like she's about to stab somebody.
It's straight up reckless, man. Like, she has such a platform and she's making people believe this shit. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people, and nobody does.
A lot of people believe it already. So that's the thing. Like, it's not that she's the only one making people believe this shit. It's that this has been the narrative for a whole year now since they started cracking down on the immigrants coming across the border.
And nobody does any type of
no
research
one does any research
at all.
No one
basic
research.
Like,
that's it.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just type it in Google real fast,
right,
and you can see that it happened during the Obama administration. You know,
right. Well, I mean, the main thing was, again, he talks about fake news and people. It just becomes like a laughing point. But this is literally what we're talking about.
And before you even get into it, like, these are all things we're bringing up. You guys can go and research this for yourself. Like,
right.
It's not hard. We did it.
Yeah.
You just put it in, like Moan said, Google, and it's quick. So if you don't believe what we're saying, research it. Do the research yourself. Figure it out. But don't just sit there and, if you don't like what we're saying, don't sit there and curse us out.
Right. So the thing is, when it became a major news story and it was like, oh, he's locking children in cages, and these pictures emerged of people, first of all, cages, it's chain link fences that people are detained inside of these fences. If you want to call them cages, fine.
Okay, just go ahead.
Yes. But the thing is, the pictures that they were using to show this to everyone, they found out later on that these pictures were taken back in 2014. So it was like, once that happened, then it was a scramble to cover that up and then keep the narrative going. And it was like, then people started researching, like, wait a minute, if these pictures are from 2014, that's during Obama's administration.
And so many people were reposting this stuff on Instagram. Dude, I don't know how many people I had to tell.
Even fake pictures that were like just totally not real.
One that kept getting posted was from a rally that they did against it.
Yeah.
And they made a fake one with
Someone
put
their own child in a cage crying, and people were posting this like this was happening at the border.
Look at this.
Yeah.
You guys don't even know what you're talking about.
But yeah, there's a few. I did a research on it, just doing a fact check thing. I don't know if you want to bring that up, ragefactcheck.org, where they were talking about why did Obama lock immigrants' children in cages, and why didn't the media report on it in 2014? Right. So these photos were the ones that got circulated during the Trump administration about the children being locked in cages, but it was actually from 2014. There's more photos than that too. So like when they were showing the kids with the foil blankets on them and everything, that was all from then. Yeah. So,
and this happened, and they were Mark Morgan.
Right.
Every time I say his name, this happened because of the quick. They were trying to accommodate what was happening. There was a change going on.
Right. So what happened in 1996? There was a Supreme Court ruling. Look, so this is it. So the Trump, what is this? The fact check one or business? That's Business Insider. Yeah. So they have more of the pics on Business Insider, where you can see, if you scroll down, you'll see them. This article goes into like the same thing. Like these pictures got circulated. Those are the kids in foil that people were totally upset about. But this is the thing, like this is I mean, this is crazy when you look at it. It's like, why would you do that? But they were kind of forced to because of the laws that are in place. Because in 1996 there was a Supreme Court ruling where they said that you're not allowed to detain the children with the parents, right? So then they started having to they started separating them in facilities like this at first during the Obama administration, because once the Supreme Court,
just to get into it though, there was more of an increase in families coming over.
Right.
That was big because before it used to be men.
Right.
Like even in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of men were crossing over for work.
Right.
And they, little by little, families started to increase. And those pictures are from when they had to start to try to accommodate these families.
What does that say there? In 2014, we saw, and I can't read, enormous spike.
To what usually happens every year and the number of kids crossing alone into the United States. So not just families, but also kids just by themselves.
Right.
We didn't have enough shelter facilities, had a huge increase, so kids ended up piling up in Border Patrol lockups, which are no places for children.
Right, exactly. And the reason why they had to do this is because they can't legally detain them but for 20 days. Like that was the ruling. Like you can only hold them for 20 days and then you have to release them. So then that became the catch and release policy.
Right.
Where now people know, oh, I can just bring a kid with me and you got to release me into the country.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And a lot of times those kids weren't with they weren't biological
right,
parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were being trafficked in,
right.
Or they were coyotes were just pairing people together. Mm-hmm. Like you go with these kids because they know that if you go with kids, then you have a better chance of being released.
Right.
So once that became a thing, all of these detainment facilities were already there. So when Trump said, we're going to have a zero tolerance policy, they just were doing the same thing that they've been doing. You know what I mean? But it became a huge news story now, and it wasn't a news story before. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole thing. Is like people are jumping on a narrative because it's being pushed in front of their faces. So every day we keep hearing separating kids at the border. It's like, yo, they've been doing that. Mm-hmm. They've been doing that. They have to do that by law. They have to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people, and even the crisis saying it's a literal crisis at the border right now.
Right.
People don't understand.
Right.
You in one area like Tucson, Arizona, it was like 70,000 people crossed in one day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's getting crazy.
Yeah.
And
where do you put all of them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you accommodate that? That's the problem that they're having. And there was people from the Obama era that were talking about it. They're like, 1,000 would be a lot for us.
Yeah.
Now people are dealing with in some facilities over 4,000,
more than that. And they're like, I don't know how we would have dealt. Like 1,000 would have been overwhelming. I don't know what they're doing now.
Yeah. Right.
Because there's this huge influx now of people trying to get in.
So when this could be like, I don't know if this is really happening, but George Soros, hashtag George Soros. But dude, people are crazy, and if you do your research, you can find that George Soros has a lot to do with a lot of things that are happening in this country, and trying to dismantle a lot of the stuff that's happening. And there's some stuff that says that he's been giving them money to come to the border.
Right. Well, they were talking about that with that first caravan because someone was financing that.
Right.
Someone was giving them supplies and money and fuel and all this stuff to get to America. You know what I mean?
And you look at all these, like, it's not a lot of Mexicans now. It's a lot of people from Central America now.
Yeah.
And which has to do with Mexico too. And that's why Trump is like, we're going to close the border. We're going to put tariffs on Mexico because they're not doing anything.
Right.
It's not just about U.S., it's about Mexico. They're letting these people in to come to the border.
Right.
To come to our border on purpose. They're not stopping them. They're not doing anything. They're letting them come in because it's like, oh, it's not our problem, but it is your problem. So there's a lot that.
But this is the thing. I understand why people are being riled up because they're being fed a narrative where it's like, this is all immoral, it's racist, and it's inhumane because people are just seeking a better life. And
but not just that, because then they're saying there's no crisis.
Right.
They're saying it's not really that bad.
Right.
When it is, because that adds to, they don't understand what is going on in terms of how do you have the infrastructure to deal with it? You know what I mean? Like that too.
Right.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that people are are like all of that is cool. Like the logistics of it, and like how many people are coming in, and the way it's undermining our workforce, or labor force, and everything. Like we get that. But people aren't basing decisions off of that anymore. It's all based off of emotion. Right. It's all based off of, but they're so, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's all they need to push.
How do you turn somebody away when they want a better life for themselves?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you say to them, well, have them live with you or in your house.
Yeah. All right. Right.
Take them in.
And the crazy thing is, you both, as immigrants that came in the right way, have to see that now, and you being a carpenter, being in a contracting business, you are faced with that all the time.
Oh yeah,
because the entire labor force is flooded
Supply
with
and demand,
illegals.
yeah.
And you were talking about this to me earlier with what you think the real problem is. So speak on that a little bit.
Well, like I said, I think you should go after the businesses, I think that's how it should be. If you really want to put a stop to this, I would say go after all restaurants, businesses, contracting businesses, factories,
farms,
right. Those type of businesses, and go after the owners,
right?
And put heavy fines on them. Go and find out who their workforce is. See what they're paying. Number one, you're going to find out if they're running a legal operation, and you're going to see if they're really treating these people, fair, or if they're paying them a fair wage. Because that all falls into the humane. If you're saying that it's humane, we want to treat people fair and they have families, then you should care that they're making $5 an hour too, because they have a family to feed.
They need to be getting 15
this
an
is
hour.
The thing. Y'all are the ones constantly screaming this minimum wage. You know what I mean? Mandatory minimum wage, $15 an hour, across the board, which that's a whole nother thing that doesn't make no sense.
I've been there in the workforce. Like, I've worked since I was picking blueberries, probably at the age of 11 or 12, making a basket of blueberries $3, a basket. I worked in sausage factories in Philadelphia.
Wait, how long does it take you to get that basket done?
Well, I'm quick, so
And they're quick too.
Yeah.
But you get paid by the basket, not the
you get
hour.
paid.
But I'm just saying,
they know that. That's
how long does that take? Like,
I don't remember, but
take an hour.
I worked fast. No, it doesn't take an hour
so
because
like
there's a lot of blueberries. Bloop, 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 bloop,
Okay, so you're making
I like the blueberry sound effect.
so $3 a basket. You're making what, like $6 an hour?
If you're
$9 an hour.
if you're slow, if you're slow.
So if you're fast, like $9 an hour.
Yeah. But
it's not bad back in 1980.
Right.
That wasn't
Seven?
That wasn't the 80s.
Oh wait, okay, 1991, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Mona's really like 62.
But what I'm saying though, like, we're talking about the workforce. Cracking down on these factory, owners and stuff. Like, dude, you can look at me personally and you can tell that I'm young as hell working in this factory. You can tell, like, it's all there's a lot of younger families of immigrants, younger kids, and all illegals. Like, we used to when I went to the blueberry thing, we had the 15 passenger van. They used to pack mad people in there. I'm
smashing y'all in there,
smashing them in there, and it's all
get in there.
It's all
get
illegals.
in there and pick them berries.
But it's cheap labor.
Cheap labor. In fact, I watched a documentary not too long ago. It was not Food Inc., but it was about the food industry in the South, more specifically chicken farming and animal agricultural base.
I saw that.
Right?
Yeah.
And they were saying that, listen, before it was poor Southern whites and poor Southern blacks that they would work on these chicken farms.
Yeah.
And this was in the Carolinas and the South, where they have most of, I think, Tyson, Purdue, all of the big name chicken producers, right? So they were saying, in an effort to grow faster, bigger, quicker, put more stuff on the shelf.
Be number one, man.
Be number one. There you go. So, they were pushing these people so hard and paying them very little wages. And the people couldn't keep up with the production. And they said, fine, we'll find a labor force. And they pretty much brought in most of these illegal people from the West, brought them over them, housed them in communities and trailer parks, and basically said, you're now being because you guys don't want to work the extra hours and the overtime, but you're going to be replaced by this workforce. And they did it. They basically threatened them to do it, and they did it. And now the people there was a video about 5 or 10 years ago with some guys loading chickens, and it was at nighttime. They were moving chickens to the slaughterhouse, and it was these guys. If anybody here is familiar with chickens and how they're grown for harvesting or whatever, those chickens are so pumped up on whatever antibiotics, steroids, or whatever it is, that they can barely move.
Right.
And these guys were socket kicking chickens. Because it was like 2 a.m. They had to load these trucks, and it was like probably one of the most brutal things I've seen.
No one's watching them.
No one cares.
They're like, fuck these chickens.
They were picking up chicken, flinging them.
Chicken
it was
across
crazy.
the room.
You know, and it's like, you know why that's happening? That's happening because of the environment this is producing.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it's not because that guy over there hates chickens.
So you mean to tell me that someone that doesn't give a shit about laws and comes into a country illegally and doesn't pay taxes and has a fake social security, they're going to take super care of this chicken.
Right.
They're going to really care. They're going to really care.
All while getting paid $3 an hour.
Exactly. Oh, wow.
And they have to do it at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, they're going to be extra excited. Boy, I can't wait to get up and...
Yeah, I can't wait to get up and load all these chickens. Chicken scratches them in the arm. They kick that chicken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're walking through feces.
Yeah.
But the thing is then who is to blame? Is it that guy that's kicking the chicken like that? Or is it the owner who probably knows this stuff happens,
right?
But needs this stuff to, you know what I mean?
Needs the cheap labor.
He needs the cheap labor.
Trickle down effect. It's not right to kick chickens, but you can see where it comes from.
Right.
Exactly.
I think it's a collective.
Maybe it's
thing.
even deeper, yo. Like I know.
Oh, here we go. Conspiracy hour starts. Here we go. Let's go.
Maybe they know that
they know that they're kicking chickens.
No, they know that there's so many people that's doing these jobs. And it might, if they crack down on everything.
Oh, that's one. That's not even a conspiracy.
Oh, man.
Bro,
it will ruin the economy. It will ruin everything.
They know that most of these donors that fund their campaigns run these corporations that are all their labor is done by these people.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that they can't cut the legs out from under them like that.
Yeah.
And if you raise the minimum wage, it's going to do the same thing because now they can't. No, all it's going to do is force them to hire more of them. And if they can keep that, why do you really think that they refuse to do anything about the border? They refuse. Do you really think it's because we just want everyone to be happy? No. It's because they know the system that they have in place. First of all, a lot of these sanctuary cities, they're finding ways to get them to vote. They're getting them voter cards. They're trying to pass laws where you don't need ID. You don't need a license to vote. You know what I mean? You can get some other,
you can get a license. Did you see that?
You can.
That demographic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where everywhere there were a legal license given. Yeah. The Democrats won that state in 2016.
Man, James, we went about it the wrong way.
Yeah.
We want to do things.
You too could be making $3 an hour.
We want to do things the right way.
All I have to do is come through Sunshine America.
Definitely don't think that's the right way of looking at it, but
nah.
No. But no, I see that problem within the contracting world a lot. In fact, I was talking to a lady not too long ago, and she said, "Hey, listen," she said, I know. She's like, "Listen, the guy who comes out and give me the estimate, and then the people who show up to do the work don't look the same."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. It's never the same guy.
Yeah.
And why? Because he's paying them $10 an hour or whatever that is to get that done fast and cheap, and then he comes in and gets his balance at the end of the day. But in a way, it's really people. A lot of people are to blame because that's what they want. They ultimately want it as fast and cheap as possible, and that's the group of people that they can exploit to get that kind of product.
Right.
Well, somebody's got to be responsible. You know what I mean? Like somebody's got to, because if you, like as musicians, if we hold, I know this used to happen with my dad a lot of times. He used to complain about like, you got these young cats coming in and they're giving away their jobs for nothing, and so now you got skilled musicians and they don't want to pay the skilled musicians. You know what I mean? Yep. So there has to be some kind of integrity with what you're doing, and the bottom line can't just be about making money. Mm-hmm. And then if you hold that, then the people who are the consumers, they're they gotta pay.
Yeah.
But and even on the other end, you got the state. Depends on what state you're in, but I know New Jersey is kind of crazy for the different regulations they have.
Yeah.
So that can play in the factor. I know with farming, it's pretty bad. A lot of farmers, they rely on the government to subsidize things, and so there's a lot of things that have
been created to.
Yeah. And it's a shame, man. Like it's all about money. If we can get people off of, like, it's like the government wants you to have to rely on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so like if you have a small chicken farmer, they're not gonna be able to sustain. Because you have these bigger companies that are coming in and they're hiring all these Mexicans, and they're, they're the ones that are lobbying.
Right.
And it gets worse and worse.
Right.
What?
Nothing. It was just like so general, just Mexicans. Like,
I'm sorry.
Just Mexicans.
I think that's partly our fault too, because are we willing to support the local guy who doesn't have the shop right and the clean buff floors and everything labeled? Are we willing to go like Joel Salatin? I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. No, Joel Salatin was the guy, the farmer who does organic natural farming on the documentary called Food Inc. And he talked about it. He said that he had a deal with Whole Foods at one time, and he saw what they were trying to do. As great as they professed to be,
right?
They wanted him to change the way he did things to suit their store standard,
right?
And he was like, listen, you guys are good at marketing and setting up shelves, but don't tell me how to grow chicken, harvest them, cultivate them. Leave that to me. He said, because here's what I learned when companies like that come in and tell you need to change this or change that to suit our standard, there is never any stop to that,
right?
And because they're convincing the consumer now, hey, these chickens are safe because they're this and this and this. You know what I mean? But whenever some contamination happens, they never know how to answer those questions,
right?
Because he was saying, listen, we've never had any problems. And he said, in fact, what he did was he went out and they hired a second agency to test the cleaning facilities and found that their facility that Whole Food was complaining about was actually cleaner than the one Whole Foods was promoting.
I remember that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, we hired that company independently to test that.
Right.
He said, because they want to spin it to you that this is all in the effort to protect you from bacteria and this and all these dangerous diseases. And he's like, we proved that they were lying. They didn't know what they were talking about. And the question I have is, are we, the consumers, would we be willing to support the local guy instead of going to ShopRite for the sale on turkey?
Well, this is my view on that, because I think that there is such a thing that people are going to go for convenience and for the sale no matter what.
No matter what, yeah.
So I think the responsibility has to be on the integrity of the business to hold those standards in place, you know what I mean, to make sure, because like you can't expect people, it's like anything, like you can't expect people to always make the right decision as far as
too much research,
right? But I'm saying at least I feel like some of it has to be some of the blame has to fall on our shoulders too.
Of course, yeah,
because we go for convenience.
Right.
I mean, come on, you didn't know that dollar hamburgers were gonna make you fat,
right?
Get diabetes. You didn't know that.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Like at some point, when do you start asking questions?
There has to be a line.
We're in this, like, from the time that you're very, very young, they're taking all the tomatoes in the grocery store and they're throwing out all of the perfectly good tomatoes that have like one blemish on them to put all of the perfect tomatoes, because you're trained that this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be shiny and new. This is the only thing that I will accept and that I will eat.
Exactly.
But you don't have the information behind that tomato that it's so perfect, but what's actually inside of it.
There's a reason why it looks so perfect.
The lack of information, James, is really the big part. Like if the consumer doesn't know anything, how can they ask the right questions?
That's right.
You have to at some point say, boom, why is the burger $1?
Right.
Why?
Right. And I feel like that's probably something that we really need to address is, are we are we part of the problem just as much as the corporation is trying to please us because it's all about the visual? Like the tomato has to be perfect, no blemishes. In fact, there are sites now, my wife buys from one of them. It's called Misfits. Okay. And this is perfectly good food, but it just isn't aesthetically
Visually perfect. We talked about that when we went to Trinidad because remember we were eating the mangoes right from the tree.
And it doesn't look pretty.
I think I did like a live stream about that, like, yo, no one would buy this mango in the
it's
States.
one of the
but it was one of the best mangoes I've ever had in my life.
Right.
But it looked like it was spotty and there's dark spots on the skin. But you open it up, it's perfect.
It's perfect.
You know, but it's like they wouldn't sell that here because it has to. But I like Rachel was saying, I think it's because people are conditioned and uninformed. And I think that, of course, people are going to pick the most beautiful fruit that they see, you know, like, of course they are.
Right.
So if your whole vision is how can we genetically engineer a fruit that looks beautiful all the time, like, I think that onus is more on the people generating that. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
and I agree with that, but I'm saying there has to be at least a time when you have to say, what is it about me that I'm, you know what I mean, overlooking that.
Self-reflection, yes.
Right.
I get that.
And there's like a very, like, we're in a time where no one thinks, or very few people are starting to come back around to the idea of where does this food come from? You don't just walk in a store and then it's all there lined up on the shelf. So even say, like, food comes out of the ground, it's natural and it's good, and they're taking it and putting it as a product, and it's going to be a brand, even the produce. Like, those connections aren't made. We just walk in the grocery store and we buy whatever's presented to us. So there's like a huge generational removement from, like, how do you feed yourself? Where does it come from? Do you care? No? Yes?
If the zombie apocalypse happened,
care,
we
man.
would all be
it's
in Schitt's Creek.
We're literally living in like a different dimension.
Yeah.
When you think about we're removed from this natural world.
We talk about it all the time. Like, how many people do you know? You could probably count them out now that will tell you, I can't eat chicken on the bone.
Yeah, that's the weirdest thing.
That's so weird.
That is the most strange thing I've, like, people say
These
that
skeletonless chickens.
Yeah, it's like, do you know what chicken is, right? Like,
what do you want to bet? They're probably working on that right now.
Yeah, they are. Dude.
Bobby, we have a problem. People do not like bones. Can we engineer a bird that doesn't have any bones in it?
I want you working on boneless chickens right now. There's a freaking Purdue Steve Jobs out there who's out there cracking the whip on people to produce.
Listen, we're joking around about this, but do you know that they've actually engineered the chicken in such a way that it'll go from egg to an actual production meat production bird in 35 days?
Yeah.
They've done that.
Dude, it's even
Fooding,
worse.
right? Fooding,
It's even worse. They're engineering things now where they can grow meat from the tissue in a lab. And that's going to be the next. That's
just like a steak. Like, here's a new steak.
Here's a steak. Bam.
Yeah.
That's the next.
Cancer schmancer.
Because the push for that, you know, there's always a push. You know, the abortion genocide agenda was women's health, and everyone should have the right to choose. The push for this is, you know, starvation and famine, and there's not enough food to feed everyone. So if we can genetically, you know, if we can create this food in the lab, then we'll be able to feed the whole world.
Right. And my question to you, Mr. Scientist, would you be eating this steak tonight?
Right.
F you.
Right.
No.
Yeah, don't worry about where my food comes from. You just eat it. Shut up and eat it.
Shut up and eat it.
Yeah.
I just think that we really, like, I guess maybe because I do have an affinity for nature and gardening, and so I like that stuff.
Right.
And
you grew up in the jungle, so it makes
that's
sense.
why.
But
in Trinidad, we did have agriculture.
Yeah, you guys had to take that in school.
We had to take that. We had to take agriculture as a class. And I think when you remove those things from society, this is the first time in human history that someone can live their entire life and never have to grow anything, kill anything.
Right.
So they have no direct connection to what their food, how from garden to table or from land to table. They have no connection. So you could take a bite of a turkey sandwich and fling it out the window because it didn't taste good to you. It didn't have mayo on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Never considering what it took for that turkey.
Turkey so dry you can eat it in the rain.
That's right. You like my line. So you know what I'm saying? So if you think about it, right? This is the first time where people. I remember one time I read this article, and I kid you not, this is verbatim. This woman was complaining about hunters, and she said, "You know, you guys make me sick. Instead of going out and killing these animals,
I saw this.
Why don't you go to the store and buy the meat
Buy
there
them
where
like
animals are not harmed?"
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys make me sick. Why don't you go? I think
This is a real.
This is real, yo.
This is real?
This is real.
Can we find it?
I think you can find
What?
it.
I don't understand
think
why
it-
you guys
I
are
think it-
laughing. What's wrong with that?
I think it was a tweet, Rach, or something like that. Like, I don't understand why you guys have to kill animals when
So
you can just
far
go to the grocery
removed.
store like everyone else. It was something along those lines.
where they're not harmed.
Yeah. So ridiculous, man. But think about it. Like she was saying, that's how far removed we are from nature, from what we're eating, from agriculture.
That's the correct word, nature.
Yeah.
There's a balance, right? And those laws they're unchangeable.
Right.
You can adjust them, but there's consequences that come with them.
Right.
But that process is unchangeable. You know what I mean? Things have to be born, grow, cultivated to get for you to get your source, your information. I mean, your natural source of nutrients.
Yeah, we talk about that with because humans always we seem to have this need to want to control nature, and we talk about that with dog breeding all the time.
Yeah.
Like the all of these breeds of dogs always have these medical issues because of the way they've been bred.
Right,
and
Victorian age.
Yeah,
and that was the beginning of that's really when eugenics was. They thought of eugenics as a thing. They were like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because they were looking at it as they did it with dogs, horses, all farm animals they were able to do it with.
Right.
Within the species, they were able to highlight certain genetic traits and make that into a thing.
Right, like a mule is a cross between a donkey and a horse.
Yeah.
And
But they were doing it with because the Victorian age was what these dogs were basically they were Paris Hilton before Paris Hilton.
Right.
These dogs were accessories. They were toys to the rich.
the
you know what I
Great
mean?
Dane and
Right.
the German Shepherd.
You would show up to a party with your
Right,
dog. you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
That was a thing. And they did it, but they bred them so close within to one another that what they thought were desirable traits basically was birth defects, but they kept on breeding them like sister, brother, mother, father,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like kind of so close within their relation that these traits began to become pronounced and led to other things, you know?
It's like someone tweeted that about the bloodline inbreeding in the royals.
That's where they tried
It's
it.
a real thing,
They tried
right?
it in
Yeah.
France and London. That's,
Right.
if you ever look at the royals of
Like the
that
late Victorian age.
yes.
Yeah.
If you ever look at them, boy oh boy,
monstrosities.
they are not attractive people because it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. But
Right.
it definitely doesn't work within the human.
That's like that scene in Gladiator when he's like trying to flirt with his sister. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, yo, that stuff was really
It
happening.
was really real. And if you look at any of the pictures of the kings and the queens, and you see what they were doing, they were literally sleeping with their cousins or their sister or whatever it is, and it led to certain genetic defects. You know?
I mean, even up until World War One,
yeah, they were doing it.
you had the Tsar. They were all
Right.
the Tsar.
Right.
That was in Russia and Germany. They were all cousins in England and Germany. I think they were first cousins.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, all the royals were related. They would, but they would do that on purpose. Like they would marry the princess from England to the prince from France, so that all the bloodlines would all be connected.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was an alliance back in the day.
Right. And they thought they were creating perfection.
Well, there's a lot of people when you research it that those people believe that they belong to a genetically superior bloodline. You know what I mean? So they were trying to keep that bloodline pure in a sense.
Genetically superior race.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, to me with the whole food thing, that's one of the things that's interesting to me is that, people aren't paying attention to those things.
We were talking about border control.
It's all right.
Well, it led to
happens.
how our food is getting harvested.
Yeah. What was that joke? Who did that joke about veganism where she was like, something about you don't want to kill animals, but you don't give a shit about who's picking your.
Oh, that's Chelsea
cops.
Peretti.
Chelsea Peretti.
Chelsea Peretti does an amazing joke.
Yeah,
and
can't find it, Rach. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
That joke was awesome.
We made that whole thing up. We just wanted to send you on a wild goose chase. See if you can find this Chelsea Peretti's joke about veganism. It's pretty funny, but. Yeah, because that's how we got onto all of this. Because we're talking about the border. We're talking about how
Well, that's the thing. We know we know that right now, if the way we get our food,
right?
Have any one of us actually ever thought about how our food is harvested? How do we get it? You know, it just happens. We've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Most people, I mean, we've thought about it because we have this conversation, but most people in general don't think about that.
Yeah.
I just want my arugula salad.
Yeah, they don't care.
You know,
it's convenient. You go to the supermarket, it's there.
Right.
Why would you want to grow it yourself and have to do all that work?
Right. When I can pull up to now, it's to the point where you could put your stuff in your phone and pull up at the window and just pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why would I care?
Or it gets delivered to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazon Fresh.
Yeah.
Nothing that's concise enough.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, don't worry about it. Anyway, the gist of the joke was...
she was talking about the pretentious nature of vegans. When
Right.
they were talking about the idea is that they really hate the consumption of meat, and they love their natural vegetables and the bees.
Right,
and the
they don't
things.
want to harm it.
They don't want to have.
Yeah, they don't want to eat honey because bees were harmed.
Yeah, so I don't want to eat honey because bees were harmed. And to which she replied, "But you don't give a shit about the Mexican picking your arugula salad in 90-degree weather."
Yeah, for $3 an hour, right? And kicking chickens across the road,
right? Which is true.
Yeah.
I care about the bee, but my arugula salad,
right?
Or you don't care about the land that you destroyed.
Yeah,
right. That's the even deeper level. But even on the surface, like she's exposing, like even on the surface, you don't give a shit about the person that's being pretty much slave labor to service you your arugula salad. Yeah. But you care about the bees. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's like the same thing. Like, when people talk about those things and you look at them, you're like, I care about the animals.
Yeah.
But I don't care about the kid in India making my shoe
right.
for like 2 cents.
Right. Making my Nikes.
My name brand shoes.
Oh, speaking of Nikes, I have to talk about how last week we were talking about Michael Jordan and John,
that is crazy.
John totally was like, "Yo, that's the wrong Michael Jordan," and I was like,
fact check.
Simone was talking about how Michael Jordan owned prisons, and I was like, yeah, and then you buying his Jordans.
Yo,
but it was a different.
I remember reading the article about it. It was
a lot of people had that wrong apparently.
Yeah,
it's a different Michael Jordan.
It's a white dude.
It's a white dude.
Yeah.
With the same name.
Wow.
That owns Jordans.
Yeah, that owns the prisons. Yeah.
So
the internet is also confused.
Okay. Did Michael Jordan buy stock in private prisons? Yeah, the internet is confused about this. But before we end the to Asians, we got to get into our chopsticks. Our chopsticks racist, and the use of and using chopsticks in a commercial, is that racist?
What?
So yes, let's pull this up. So Rach, pull up the BBC article. This was sent to us earlier in a text by Jordan Damiani, our guitar player. He was laughing about, because we always laugh. We're always in these weird group chats where we talk about like stupid things that we see, or like we just have these hilarious conversations because there's so much craziness out there. And he was just he was laughing about how everything is racist now. And so there's this commercial that was in England. It was an advertisement for Burger King, and it should be in the Young Lion.
They took the tweet is now not public anymore.
Oh wow.
That's in the article.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I can look on finding it, but give me a minute.
No, it's cool. So basically, there was a commercial where Burger King is doing this Vietnamese burger, and in the advertisement, they were eating the burger with these giant chopsticks. People were, you know what I mean? Right. Like, oh, it's a Vietnamese burger, and they're eating it with chopsticks. It was supposed to be like a funny thing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But of course, Twitter. There you go. So these giant chopsticks. So, of course, Twitter erupts with the outrage. All of these Asian people were outraged. And Jordan was like,
What the hell?
I didn't tweet it. I didn't tweet anything at all.
Yeah.
You know.
So there was tons of like Asian people tweeting,
right?
You know, from all different cultures and backgrounds about how offensive this was and cultural appropriation. And we were just talking about how racist Asians are, right?
Right.
So in response to Jordan's message, I was like, yeah, okay, but this is okay. And I started posting all of these racist Asian commercials.
Yeah.
Maybe
with the black guy coming out the washing machine.
Yes. Please
Let's
play that.
play it. Let's play it.
But dude, there is so many.
There's many more.
There is so many.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this one. Oh yeah. Come here, black guy. You're sexy, but I'm gonna make you even more sexy.
Right. That's how you clean black guys.
And he comes out looking like Sniggity.
Not only did he turn out Asian and white,
Looks like a sweet ass K-pop.
his hair got straight too.
Yeah.
So apparently that takes naps out. So then you got to show that. So that one was in China, okay?
It's crazy.
Like Patrice O'Neal does a stand up. I was watching his stuff after you sent me that clip. He was like, he said something about Chinese people being racist. He was like, and when I say Chinese people, I don't mean
people that come from there.
He was like, I don't
China.
He's like, I don't mean China, but I mean people that look like they come from China. Yeah. So there's another commercial. I want you to show the I think it's Kanyang chicken. The one this one's in Korea.
Okay.
It's the chicken commercial.
Oh, I think I saw this. They're on the beach.
Yeah, is it on the beach?
There's one with them
with the tribe. With the
tribe. Yes, this is it.
So they're about to sacrifice him until he says,
누구나 좋아하는 맛 교촌 치킨.
So okay, so he's about to be sacrificed. They're gonna eat him because they're cannibals, clearly, right? Yeah. But instead, he's like, he yells out, "Chicken!" and they all stop.
Got this chicken.
And then he uses his Asian magical powers to manifest chicken, fried chicken right in front of them, and then they love him after that. Okay, so now last one. Okay, there's plenty, but I gotta show this one. This one's in I think it was in Thailand, and it's a skin bleaching commercial.
Oh god!
And you have to read the subtitles, bro, and what they're talking about. It's like the most blatant thing. Oh no, not this one. I'm sorry, it's the other one. But I think that one's in Thailand too. But this one, that one is hilarious. That one right there, yeah,
that one.
All right.
คุณรู้อะไรมากว่าคริสจะมาถึงตรงนี้ได้
The competition was very
การ
high.
แข่งขันมันสูงมาก
If I stop
จะอ
taking
ยู่
care
ได้
of
นา
myself,
นๆไม่ใช่
everything
เรื่
I've
องง่าย
invested in,
แล้วถ้าคริสหยุดดูแลตัวเองเมื่อไหร่
all the
ทุกอย่าง
whiteness
ที่
I
ทุ่มเท
worked
มา
All the whiteness
ความขาวที่ล
can
ง
be
ทุนไว้
lost. And why she turns black?
เด็กใหม่ที่เข้ามาแทนที่
The new
อาจ
kids
ทำ
will
ให้เรากลาย
replace
เป็น
me.
ดาว
Wow
แค่ขาวก็ชนะ
Whiteness makes you win.
สโนว์กลูตาเข้มข้นที่สุด ผสมเมล็ดกีวี
Wow
ช่วยให้ไม่กลับมาดำ
Whiteness
เหมือน
makes
กลู
you
ต้าทั่ว
win,
ไป
bro.
ข่าวนี้
Kiwi
รันคริส
seeds,
มั่น
kiwi
ใจ
seeds, it's fine.
โซซีเครต
I didn't know kiwis turned you white.
Wow.
แค่ขาวก็ชนะ
But a kiwi on it is fresh.
Bro, I gotta eat more kiwis.
Dude.
Gotta get rid of this melanin, bro.
Crazy.
That is
But
bad.
that other clip that had like a whole series of like Thai commercials that were racist, and there was other ones that were just strictly about like being as white as you possibly can be, and how that makes you better. Like, dude, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's why to me it's like, how are y'all offended by some chopsticks when y'all are producing some of the most racist stuff I've ever seen
And love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
And that's all over Asia.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I found them
we
at every
talked
spot.
about that before. You know how they.
You could go on Google, on YouTube right now and click and type in racist Asian commercials and find a slew, and you'll just be there for days.
There's a girl group, I think in Japan or something like that, and they're in blackface and they're dressed up. They have cornrows, the attitude. You know, it's just insane.
Yeah, Mo. We gotta. We don't understand. You have to explain to us.
I don't know, because I'm dark.
He's a dark Asian. You look. You failed. You don't let your whiteness win.
I picked too many blueberries as a child.
Failed your people.
Can we see Fair and Handsome?
You gotta see Fair and Handsome one more time.
Fair and Handsome.
Let's watch Fair and Handsome.
I'm not playing that. No.
Yo, I love that commercial. It's so funny.
Fair and Handsome is funnier than all of those. Jake didn't even get to see that.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it when you watched it. Yeah, that is hilarious.
Dude, I couldn't believe it.
K-pop GIF.
You see what? Like I talked with you about this before, Jamie. Like how K-pop is. I saw a documentary. Yeah, I saw a documentary on Vice.
Yeah,
about how K-pop they idolize the hip hop culture. They love that culture.
They love the culture, but hate the blacks.
But hate the blacks.
You know what's funny about that? I'm sitting here thinking, and this all reminds me of Dave Chappelle, Clayton Bigsby.
Clayton Bigsby.
This is Clayton. Because it's perfect.
Yeah, man. It's hilarious.
That was his first episode, yo.
Yeah. First episode. Clayton Bigsby. But yeah, Asians are racist, man. Asians are they really, really hate black skin. Like they really
do
hate
But that's what
man.
colonialism has done though.
Do you think it's colonialism?
I think
feel like they've always been obsessed with that. What's this, right? Oh yeah. That is the classic right there.
Clayton Bigsby. Well, my thing is, I think, yes. Is that in them? Yes, but I think colonialism have left a terrible. Because if ever you go to these places, wherever there was colonization, they have basically kept those idea and philosophy. Because you can go to certain places and they're dressed like in the old army outfits. Right. They're dressed, you know what I mean? So they definitely, because they're not dressed in the traditional. Like if you look at what's the guy? Is it Mao Zedong? Like one of the dictators over there that killed who the guy in the Khmer Rouge?
Pol Pot.
Pol Pot.
Yeah,
he's dressed like a little. You know what I mean? Like he's not dressed in. He's not dressed in the traditional.
Right.
Like they always these cultures. Like even if you go to Africa, Idi Amin, they're dressed like little British generals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you look at them.
Well, that's where they learn. Like Pol Pot. Like he, as much as he didn't like, Western civilization, he studied.
Sure dressed like him.
He studied in France.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. I think colonialism. So now, if that's affecting the men that way, how would it affect the women? Because this skin bleaching thing.
Well, China was different because
China and Japan both were different because they never really got colonized.
Well, yeah, they did, but then they got kicked out.
Right.
But they were affect. You know what I'm saying? Like there was still like okay. Look at like for a long time I loved Japanese anime.
Right.
You know, I when I was a kid I was into it, but I noticed that all of the characters were white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't even draw them like them.
They don't even draw them looking Asian. Yeah.
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 My favorite character on Street Fighter.
Yeah. All of the games that we grew
Ryu.
Yeah, look at the names.
Really look
Ryu.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Ryu.
Yeah.
You know, Raiden.
Yeah.
Scorpion. They were all white.
Yeah.
All of these and the ones who had like, maybe Dulcim or whatever it is, but no,
they will character the shit up all the other,
right.
Like Dulcim. What was it? Blanco was from Brazil. He was a freaking monster.
Yeah. DJ.
Yeah, DJ, the black guy boxer. He looked like
the Russian guy.
The Russian guy,
Zangief.
Everyone else,
Zangief.
every other culture was like a caricature of themselves.
Yeah.
But the Japanese guys just looking.
Hold
normal.
up, the main guy,
Bison. He was from Thailand.
Yeah,
the main boss
was he?
Yeah,
he's Thai.
Thai.
He's
really
from Thailand,
dude.
In the movie,
he had the outfit on. No, in the game.
Great. Wait, hold on. I gotta tell you guys this joke. The best part about Street Fighter the movie was there is a scene where they're standing in the tent, and what was the Russian guy again? Zangief. Bison is telling Zangief that there's a bomb, and he's watching it via the TV, and he says, "Quick, turn off the TV." He thinks
he makes him seem stupid.
That's a terrible joke. So,
oh man, it's funny.
That movie was terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah, wasn't it Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Jean-Claude,
Guile?
Yeah.
But it's just,
how's he an American?
He's freaking Austrian or something, right?
He's from France.
He's from France?
He's from Belgium.
Oh, he's from Belgium. Yeah. But yeah, that game, though, I never thought about that. All of the Asian people look white,
That's
and
what I'm
everyone
saying.
else is like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
anime is the same way.
The anime is the same way. I noticed that, and they have Goku.
Yeah,
like what white guy name is Goku?
Right.
You know
they
what
even
I mean?
have that dude with blackface in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah,
they did.
Is it Popo?
I forget it.
It is Popo.
Popo, yeah.
Yeah.
Popo, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But I'm saying, pay attention to it because I never thought of it as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Ken and Ryu, Ken, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, Ken was Ryu's cousin, but he was from America, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
I don't think he was his cousin. I think it was.
Oh, they trained by the same.
They trained
the
together.
same Sifu.
Yeah.
Sifu. Whatever. Chun-Li
But how
look
come-
Asian.
but how come-
they like Asian women?
Yeah.
They like their women to look Asian.
Well, listen, we laugh.
Yeah.
You know, we're laughing about this, but how come people don't go hard at the Asians?
Dude, I don't know. That's what we were talking about.
Well,
that
they have
last
their own
week.
culture intact too, so they get you.
Well, they used to back in the day. I remember watching the what was that, the Bruce Lee movie where he got mad.
Oh yeah, when Mickey Rooney, pretended to be him.
Yeah.
Something at Tiffany's, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But they were doing that.
And also Legend, right? That was supposed to be him first,
Yeah.
right?
No Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, yeah, not Kung Fu.
And they got David Carradine.
Right. So, that's just whites being racist against
No, but I'm not
everybody.
talking. Yeah,
He's not talking about that. He's talking about like all of the offended people that are offended at everything. They never call Asians out.
It doesn't even get. It doesn't get any kind of play, which is kind of funny to me.
I like how we all looking at Moan like, Moan, answer these questions.
Answer these questions for us.
Simone, what do you think, Simone?
Moan is an honorary black guy.
I think from what I understand and what I gathered, the high school I went to was very, very diverse, like hundreds and hundreds of kids and people from literally everywhere, not just like, different places in the world, but like different countries in every part of the world.
Right.
And I had a couple of really close Asian friends that were born here. Their parents were not. And there's like, in my opinion, the way it was explained to me, he was like, my parents are very racist. He was like, but they're not going to like tell you that.
Right.
They're going to tell me that when
Right.
you go upstairs to my bedroom. They're going to be
Right.
like, why do you got this white girl here and what's
Right.
going on and blah, 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 blah. And like, so there's like a community where if you have a certain set of ideals or opinions or philosophies or whatever it may be, good or bad, if you keep that within the community, other people aren't going to know about that as much. It's only now that we're looking on YouTube that we're starting to be like, wait a second, what exactly is going on in all of the marketing on the other side of the world? And a lot of people, like I've seen some of those ads before. We've all seen some of those ads before. There's a lot of people who haven't seen any of those ads before and won't ever see them.
That's why we're playing them on Young Line TV.
That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it doesn't matter all that much.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's
my point in showing that is like, yo, this is all stupid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sensitive.
Like you're getting offended when we could easily get offended at what you
Right.
do, and everyone can be offended. Like it's all stupid anyway.
Right.
So let's just stop.
like if I go to my friend's house and he's like, my Asian friend's house.
Yeah.
Not your mom, but somebody else. And he's like, listen, my parents are very racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
all right, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a big.
We also
I'm not gonna be like,
for us it's a little bit different for us because we come from an environment. We were brought up in an environment where we had to face that at an early age. You know, our grandfather was racist. His grandmother was racist. You know what I mean? Like.
They faced it too, though.
Our grandmother still holds on to some of that prejudice against darker skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like Puerto Ricans, if they're honest with themselves, will admit that. You know what I mean? That they make fun of black people and they talk about black people like this. That's a real thing. You know?
Yeah.
Spanish people in general. Well, you know, we say it all the time. Black people are hated all across the world. Like,
what about I've seen this before. Like Spanish people, Sammy Sosa. Or they just won't acknowledge that they're black,
right?
Well, that's self-hate.
Well, yeah,
right?
Yo, Dominican, they're literally. If you live in DR, like they teach that in school.
Yeah,
you are from Spain. Like literally, like your ancestors,
your descendants from Spain,
and then it's like, but wait, like they don't even think like, but you're black as hell.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. No, we are from Spain.
No, papi.
We are not African.
No black.
Like, and it was drilled into them.
Right.
A lot of them. So it's like it's weird.
I want to go back to what she was saying about that being a secret, like with Asians. I think that's what it is. I think for them as a group, they'll keep that to themselves. I think when you look at the history of this country, especially white males were allowed at one time to say and do anything when it comes because they were lower than you. So you could
they ran the country.
Right. But I'm saying you could say whatever you wanted and it was the Archie Bunker effect. Right. You could say whatever you want to and the whole thing about Archie Bunker, he was this guy in this changing world. Right. But there was a time when his thoughts and his behavior was normal. And for a lot of Asians, when they come here, they hold on to their traditions. But aside from that, they're like, well, I'm not trying to blend. Right. You know what I mean? Right. And they kept it, like she said, like they'll go upstairs and they'll ask a question, but they'll never tell you that. Right. You know?
But it's it's deeper than that too. Like the not wanting to blend is like businesses and family and you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's that's a very small piece of it. And you can kind of argue like whether that's good or bad. Like if you come here and you're not from here and things are going to be hard, maybe you should be sticking with your community and building and supporting their businesses, etc. But altogether there was overall this like, we have each other's backs. We have our opinions, but we're not going to be out in the street trotting it up and down because it's none of your business. Like, what do you care what we think of you? Kind of that thing.
Right.
And Jamie,
but what I'm saying is you can't be offended by that commercial. You know what I mean? If you're being honest.
If you're being yes.
If you're in the Asian community, because we know just from our involvement and we know and it's even in the black community, like if you're honest, black people say messed up shit about white people all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Racist stuff and other races and Asians and
we
Mexicans.
all do it. We're human beings. We all do it.
So if you're gonna be honest with yourself, you should not be offended by these things.
Right.
I think everybody does. Like watching Green Book.
Yeah.
Green Book. That's called right. Mm-hmm. They called him what? What did they call him?
I don't remember.
Eggplant or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, like that's just how
we all do it. But
cultures and different type of people.
We talk about it all the time, like because your sister's friends with a lot of Indian people. Not to call her out, but and just like your interaction and my interaction, like certain ones that will like they'll date a bunch of black dudes. We know from Stan, right?
Yeah. Secretly.
Right. Like in high school. Yeah. But when it's time to get serious and the parents need to meet them and we're getting married, nope. It's not going to happen. It's got to be, Yeah. But whites are acceptable.
Not all the time, though. Sometimes they'll stray out there.
No, there's always exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule. But, even in the Asian community, it's like Asian women will bring a white dude home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it doesn't seem to work the opposite way around though, because you don't see a lot of white girls with Asian guys. You see more white guys with Asian girls. I think it's fetishized a little bit too.
It is.
But I'm just saying you don't see, to me, when I look at it, I don't see as much Asian men with white women. You know what I mean? As much as you see white guys with Asian women.
I feel like Indian men,
I've dated white women.
you see more with.
But I'm saying
you're not the same.
You're
type
not.
Of Asian.
It's a little different.
I see more Indian men with white.
You're
women
not Asian.
than like Chinese or like you know what I mean. But
let's look at the census on one of the dating site. I think Asian men were the least, right?
Right. Yes.
So you know.
Yes.
I don't even want to get into that. But anyway.
But to bring everything kind of back to the beginning, like you were saying, how can you get mad when we're seeing these exact same things displayed and it's nothing new and everyone's culture struggles with these issues?
Right.
You guys have all been saying, set the standard. So no double standards, which is what we wake up and turn on our phones and that's all that's thrown at us is these double standards from different sides.
Right.
So whatever's racist, let it be racist, call it racist, but it's everywhere and recognize that it's everywhere. It's a huge problem. It's not just this tiny little isolated
But is
thing.
it a problem?
I think it is a problem that right now we're seeing commercials like some of those skin bleaching ones that we just watched.
But to me, it's like, why is that a problem? If that's something that is prevalent in that community and they can market that to them in that way, then so what? It doesn't affect me in any way. I don't give a shit about that.
I think the issue for me comes in wherein, specifically for that kind of thing, so you're putting on somebody, okay, you're not going to make it unless you're lighter. That's going on in that community.
Right.
But what about the youth of that community and how they're going to come up? Do we just say, oh, because you're that community over there on that side of the world, it doesn't matter that all of your little girls and boys are coming up saying, I'm dark, and so I fail all the time, and if I don't put on skin bleaching cream, I'm never going to make it. I do think that, well, then what do we have the internet for if not to talk about things like that? That's a problem.
I definitely think that it's something that, we should aspire to not believe in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like color.
I mean,
matters.
it's
definitely
a problem in terms of
human nature.
What is wrong with you? There's a fear.
Right. I understand your point of to the outrage.
Yeah. Like,
does this make
do we need
sense?
to get this company shut down?
So
or
maybe
do we
more the outrage culture,
right?
But I do say yes, you do have to care about it because the world is getting. I'm sorry, the world is getting smaller, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying this. The reason it should matter is this: we all have children,
right?
And you and I have daughter. You have a daughter. If my daughter, let's say the world changes in 20 years from now, and my daughter has to go to China to work to get a job for consulting or whatever she's doing, and
she's screwed, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I want the world to be a place where she could go and she doesn't. You know what I mean? I think that's why we should care.
Dude,
I don't think it matters. I think it has to do because we need to teach our kids. God is the key.
Right.
To all this, guys. You got to bring it back to God. Because why are they insecure? Because they lack a foundation in their security. So they go to those things. And if we teach our kids to be secure in God, then they can go in that situation. They can change people's minds. Mm-hmm. They can go in confidence and not be afraid of what's going to happen in those situations. And that's the issue. You have to change people's minds by not falling for or even being afraid of it.
So even if you have to go into that environment, you're not going to be affected by it.
Right. And like I was saying, you go to somebody's house who they're racist and you're friends with their
we've been there. We've been
there. Yeah. It's
you've done it.
Same mentality.
You've dated white girls in the past where you knew their parents were racist. You know what I mean? And it's just something you've had to deal with.
And it doesn't even affect you in that way. And it's when it affects you to where you're like, how do I deal with this?
Right. That's when you're controlled by it still.
You're exactly
right. And that's the key, not to be controlled by commercials with chopsticks in them. So on that note, Let's wrap it up, guys. It's been well over 2 hours, I think.
Wrap it up, Bucks.
No, it hasn't. It's
been almost 2 hours.
2 hours yet. But
Just under 2 hours.
just under 2 hours. Okay, we'll leave it there so everyone can get home and have a good night's sleep for tomorrow.
So the key to all this, guys, is seek God, seek Jesus, GESUS, not J, GESUS,
GE,
Jesus. Jesus.
Jesus?
Jesus.
Jeezy.
That's
Young
a-
Jeezy.
Jesus.
Was that, you really meant GESUS?
That's how you spell it, right?
Okay.
That's not how you spell Jesus?
Okay. We're going to leave it at that.
GESUS.
We're going to leave it at that.
What? I'm wrong?
We're gonna do a quick spelling lesson with Jake after we get off the podcast.
Guys, I'm joking.
He's joking.
It's a joke. I'm not good at making jokes, but yeah.
Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the people in the chat. Shout out to everybody. Once again, make sure you support the Young Lion podcast. We're trying to grow and make it better. You can go to patreon.com/Young Lion TV or patreon.com/JUTAUN. You can also go to our Bandcamp and get some of our cool merch, like this t-shirt right here. It's got Jake's son on it. This was our album cover for Back to Life.
Jakey.
And we have some Jatan shirts. You can go to our Bandcamp page. Just go to Bandcamp and search Jatan, JUTAUN. Get some stuff. Support the cause. Get some music. And if you sign up to be a partner on Patreon, you get all this stuff for free. So you can do that as well. Make sure you guys stay tuned for next week. And we got new music coming out real soon.
Do we?
Yeah, we do, actually.
We wrote music?
Yeah, we've written some songs, a few things. I want to give a shout out to Rachel for holding it down on the production tip again. You did an amazing job.
And talking a little bit. Yeah, right?
Talking a little bit more.
I like that.
We got to get a camera on you. I'm telling you, it's coming next. It's coming next.
She's got a camera. She's just not going to utilize it.
Utilize. Well, I think once we get some better equipment, we'll get a
She
camera
doesn't like
on
that,
Rachel.
that full frontal.
Yeah, she doesn't like that FaceTime camera. It's terrible. And of course, you got to support. Well, Rachel's got some new music coming out soon. I wanted everybody to know about that. I'm putting it out there. So stay tuned. Rachel is an amazing artist also. And you can follow her on Twitter and Facebook and all of that stuff. Rachel Rota. ROTA.
Instagram.
And wait, Rachel is spelled RACHAEL. You know, that's a little, you got to make sure.
What's her musical style?
Her musical style is, it's very soulful, but she has a very like sweet, airy voice.
Okay.
You would like it.
All right.
And, but we're doing some cool things with production.
Okay.
That I think it's gonna be unique. It's gonna be unique. She whispers a lot when she sings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
She does. That's like her thing. It's cool. It's like whisper singing. It's like, remember when the Yang Yang Twins did that song?
That's a new genre.
But not like I'm trying to sound sexy with
Singer.
No.
Is it
it's
like a
like,
singer songwriter? Like a
Yeah, kind of. But yeah.
I think that's coming back, don't you?
I think so. I think singer songwriters will never die. You know, that's one of those genres that people always connect with because it's more minimal. It's not like super overproduced music like you know some of our stuff is. But anyway, so and also. Thank you to our half black, half Indian brother, Mr. James Garcia. See, this is
my dark ass.
I have to make sure. Listen, I have to make sure we say that because we talk about Indians, we talk about Asians, we talk about blacks, we talk about Puerto Ricans. We have all those.
Dude,
we have
it's all
covered here. So no one can pull the race card on us because
we got our white girl over there.
Rachel is our white Judeo-Christian. And
you don't even know what I am.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
That's
good
true.
enough.
We don't know what Rachel is.
She's like, I am black.
And when Carter's
But you're fair skin.
And when Carter actually shows up, he's our local Jew. So we have it all covered.
Yeah.
And
and we like the group. We like being part of a multi-ethnic,
Exactly.
We love it.
The thing I love about it is that we all get each other and we can all crack on every race and say, and we don't have to worry about someone who's going to be like,
we
that
refuse
offended
to,
me.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
Yeah. The main thing is we refuse to let this modern culture dictate how we're going to feel. We have a brain, we have our own minds and hearts, and we're able to discern certain things, and we want to show people, hey, listen, you don't have to think and feel the way society's telling you how to do that.
Right.
You can use your mind, and you can develop relationships and grow and learn and change.
Right.
And that's what we want to do.
And just because you feel like you are offended by the same thing everyone else is offended by, that doesn't add virtue to you.
Yeah, don't bandwagon.
So this virtue signaling thing is all bullshit. But yeah, so James Garcia.
Thank you.
He half black, half Indian with the Spanish last name. James Garcia, aka Mr. Build Right.
A walking conundrum.
Make sure you support Mr. Build Right.
Right.
Go check him out on Facebook, and you can see all of the great work that he does, and you can hire him for some gigs. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. It's Young Lion TV.
Yeah.
Young Lion go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah.